Welcome back, everyone. I'm your host, Blaine Edwards, and today we are joined by Ryan Morrisson, founder of Cardax, a decentralized exchange, aka a DEX, which is currently being built on Cardano. So Ryan, cheers for coming on the show.
Hi, Blaine. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. All righty, to start things off, as we normally do, can you please tell a little bit of a story about who you are and how you got into this beautiful world of crypto and blockchain and Cardano?
Yeah, sure. So so you said I'm Ryan Morrison. I'm leading this project called Cardax. When I started in the more in the crypto space was, I think, somewhere around 2014 when I went to my first Bitcoin meetup. I'm here in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, so I went here to. I remember there were some lunch, and then in the meantime, you would just talk to other people, and then see a presentation about a Bitcoin, and then just go back and eat a snack again. But I enjoyed the snack, but I really thought this Bitcoin thing is just we're going to remain really niche. It's just like really, it looks like a great idea, and by then I read the Satoshi's white paper, but then I thought, yeah, it's a great idea, but they also for the implementation, it's going to be really difficult. Well, long story short, I couldn't be worst financial decision ever, because I couldn't be more wrong. But then the years passed, and then until 2017. And then, with the bull run, everybody was talking about Bitcoin, and I thought, okay, let's just go back and check. And then I thought, I already heard by then about Ethereum as well. And then what I found that was interesting is that now there was this kind of evolution of where you could actually start building stuff on the blockchain. On decentralized technology. So then I thought that was very interesting, but I was kind of late to that as well. So then I thought, like, who else is doing something like these guys of Bitcoin? And then I came across Cardano and Charles Hoskinson's whiteboard video.
Whiteboard, yeah, classic.
Yeah. That was like I think October 2017. So Cardano had just launched, I think, a month before.
Wow! So you're kind of really on the ball with seeing that video. So that was pre-pump 2017.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's hilarious. And so then, continue. Sorry, cut you off.
Yeah, then I got into Cardano, and then. After that, it also was more about like trying to learn about like how it would work, because by then you couldn't, it was mainly just on theory, and I just really liked that research first approach. But there was nothing to be built on it yet. They were just building all the theory behind, basically, and with all the white papers and Ouroboros and all the white papers that they continuously kept on putting out. That until last year, and then when you could actually start testing, being part of the tests group for starting your own stake pool. So then I got interested, and then so I did that, and then you could with a merry hard fork start also building or creating tokens, and then I thought then it got more and more interesting. Now you can start doing things.
Interesting. So you were first exposed to crypto or Bitcoin 2014, and you were, so in a nutshell, you're a bit of a Bitcoin fudder back you were putting some Bitcoin FUD back in 2014, but that is understandable considering how massive this technology is and how drastically this blockchain can change the world when you first come across an idea like that, it's like, maybe, okay, cool idea, but like, how is this actually going to turn into something tangible? And because I remember I first learned about it, I can't remember the year, but I learned about Bitcoin when I was at a share house while I was at uni. We're talking about it. We're like, oh, this is such an interesting idea. We were like, oh, let's buy some. And we kind of quickly hopped on our computer and tried to, I think we would have just been a very vague Google about how to do it. And we just came to the conclusion that it was too difficult. So we didn't. Yeah. But again, obviously hindsight, stupid decision. But it's funny how things play out. So then you first learn about Ethereum and the smart contracts, which is a kind of a very different approach compared to Bitcoin. And then you stumbled upon Cardano and the whiteboard video, which sold me. Very, very interesting. I love hearing these stories about how people get into the space, and also why they pick Cardano, because Cardano is like is unique in the sense that it's a very research-driven, scientific-based approach, and that obviously appeals to a certain type of person. But pivoting to maybe more specifically Cardax, from a high level first, and then we can break it down. What is Cardax?
So Cardax is in simple is a decentralized exchange built on Cardano. So where you can, as opposed to a centralized exchange like Coinbase or Binance, for example, where you have to, where you give well, you're not in control all the time of your keys. That in this case, then it's a non-custodial. So it's like if somebody has had the experience of trading on Uniswap, it's very similar. It's pretty much the same, but now for Cardano Native Token. So then you're in short, basically what happens is that you have your tokens, whatever that native token is, or ADA, let's say in your Daedalus wallet or Euro, for example. Then and if you want to go to the platform and trade it for another native token, then that token never leaves your wallet, basically so until the moment that the smart contract is the one that does the trade. So that you're not sending your tokens to a centralized exchange.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in terms of problems, so from a general point of view, what problems are decentralized exchanges solving in general? But then getting more specific, what problems are you specifically trying to solve with Cardax and your unique kind of product?
So in general, more like on the decentralized exchanges, I think like the problem that they're solving is mainly that for people that don't want to send their tokens to a centralized exchange, then that exposes you to more risks, because it could be that that exchange gets hacked, or it could be that the exchange also shuts down. In the case of like the big exchanges like Binance, for example, then that's highly unlikely because of that, and they already became so big. But there are plenty of like smaller exchanges that also if you send them your tokens, then they're not in your control anymore. So that's for the decentralized exchanges. What they come here to fix in that is that you don't have to trust somebody else, and which is the whole point of decentralized applications, that you're all the time in control of your assets, and that's the main thing for that decentralized exchange come here to help. Now there's also space for both. Then decentralized exchanges also a bit more require a bit more technical knowledge for people that have the in this case a wallet like the Daedalus or Euro, and then it's easier if you just go to Coinbase, for example. It's very the UX is very simple, and then that brings a lot of the new users to that as well. So it's a bit of both. Probably those users after a while also start looking at also at privacy and or how to control their own transactions. So far, it until a couple of years ago that wasn't a thing until DEXs, until Uniswap came along. There were a couple of examples, but it didn't explode as much as Uniswap did. So that made it a bit more mainstream still within the crypto universe. And in the case of Cardax, what we're trying to do is like what makes it more, what we're bringing to the table is to do what you could do with the ERC20 tokens and trade them on Uniswap. Then you could do now that part with Cardano native tokens. And for the ones that don't know, since this year in the Mary hard fork allowed anybody to create a Cardano native token. So you could create your Bob token, for example, or Alice token. And then also bring those to a decentralized exchange to trade them.
Yeah, so you mentioned one benefit from a general point of view of a decentralized exchange is that you have complete control and ownership of your money, your wallet, and everything like that. It's the decisions you make it's like this level of accountability is kind of all in you. But as a kind of flip side to that, there is potentially a bit of risk as well involved with that. So to play devil's advocate, what are some things that people need to be aware of, I guess, when they are working in this space of decentralized finance and decentralized exchanges? Like, are there any potential things that we need to be particularly careful about when people are entering this space, especially for the first time? Like, do you have any words of advice for those sorts of people?
Yeah, I think like one thing that as people that are, if you want to trade on a platform, probably at the main difference, that's the main reason why centralized exchanges are still here and they're so strong still, is because of liquidity. What you don't want to have is that you go and then you put an order, or you want to sell your token, and then you have to just wait until the order happens, and then sometimes in some exchanges that takes even days. So that's the part that centralized exchanges have been so good in, or especially a few that with big liquidity, like the ones I was just talking about, like Uniswap or Coinbase and the Kraken, for example, and others. And on a national level, of course, there are many in specific as well. Here in Europe, there are others in Asia and in Latin America. They're all mainly centralized. And the as I said, like the plus of that is they bring usually liquidity, deep liquidity, so that you put an order and then you quickly get your token to sell or to buy. That's something that the DEXs still have to get good in. And that's something that we're focusing on Cardax, because what we think is on the one hand it's not just having the platform where you can go and trade. It also needs to give you enough liquidity. And usually we get the question of that there are many DEXs that are planning to launch on Cardano, and what is the main differentiation of Cardax. And then we usually say it's that we're focusing on liquidity first, second, and third. Of course, the user experience is a given. We're already, I think it has to be, in the case of Uniswap, it was so simple, and so then we already count on a user experience like that in our platform. But we also think, at the end of the day, we're traders, people that go on the platform, that you want to. You can have a very beautiful platform out there, but if you as a user cannot sell your token, or it takes a long time, then it becomes also annoying. And so then we want to make sure that there's enough liquidity for you when you go there, that you can sell or buy your tokens.
Yeah. Okay, so you mentioned a point of difference for Cardax is your emphasis on solving the liquidity problem. So can we focus on that for a bit and break down maybe your strategies to solve that problem? So you mentioned is priority 1, 2, and 3. How are you kind of really solving that liquidity problem through Cardax? Like, what are your unique ways of doing that, I guess?
Yeah, sure. And before I get into that, also I have to explain also then the concept of liquidity providers.
Okay. Yep.
In the for the ones that don't know, then in DEX you can become a liquidity provider. So that means that if you have token A and B, let's say you have 1,000 tokens, Bob token, and let's say 500 ADA, you create a pair, a pool, and then you are the market maker. You created that market. That's why it's called EAMM, automated market maker model. So then those as a liquidity provider, then why would you give your tokens to the platform? We actually don't give them. You're still in control, but you put them there. It's because you get paid a percentage of every transaction that happens in that pool. In this case, it's a 0.3% in the case of Cardax. 0.3% of all the transactions in that pool they go back to the people that added liquidity for that specific pool. So that's one thing on the concept of liquidity providers. And then on the other thing of what we're planning to do, and then what we think it's important is that from day one, when you go to the platform, is that you see a few of those pools on the platform already with enough liquidity. So what we're doing is we are partnering with a few teams that are gonna launch the tokens as well. A few projects on Cardano, and then what we're doing is that together with them, we're setting up a pool with, let's say, ADA and Bob token, to use the same example.
Yep.
And then we make sure that we allocate liquidity to that pool. And then the way we do that is, and that's a part also that why we did a pre-sale, not only for in later May, we did a pre-sale to finance the development and of the platform, and also to do marketing and other things. But now we're doing also in August a public sale, and then the main use of the funds will be to create liquidity for the platform. So what we'll be doing is to take the big part of those funds and create liquidity pools together with those teams. So then when you go there, then as a user and for the first time, you don't go to a platform that has no liquidity pools, or just only one or two, or has liquidity pools, but those pools are not liquid enough, so that they don't just to explain it, they're not big enough, the pools, so you would have to wait still. That's the main approach that we're taking now, also to allocate the resources that we're gonna get from and then we have got already to creating the pools on the platform.
Yeah. Okay. Can we, on your website, you mentioned that your DEX is a EAMM. So I know AMM is automated moneymaker, and that is pretty much built upon the liquidity providers, as you're talking about before. But there are a couple of different ways a DEX can be structured. You could have like an order book type of DEX. You could have an AMM. But how does the EAMM differ from those two? And maybe expand a bit on your rationale for choosing a EAM versus the other ones. And maybe define what an EAM is as well.
Sure. That EAMM stands for Extended Automated Market Maker. And what the thinking behind was in a classic automated market maker, you have like the model that we just discussed, and then you have like the liquidity providers and the traders, and then you have to on the one hand, when you're a liquidity provider, you have to come up with a ratio of 2 different tokens. So in some cases, that's one of the problems that we want to eventually solve. Is that in order to become a liquidity provider, sometimes it's a bit expensive because you also would need the amount of, let's say, ADA in this case. Exactly, the other one. So what we want to do is to be able to come up with a part of the protocol that will tell people you don't have to have 50-50. You can just provide maybe less of this one and then more of the other one. And the way we would do that is there are different ways that we explore to fix that problem. One of the most efficient ones was to give the pricing to the taker. So then you don't have like you can set up a price, then and then that's a given always. Then the other part is also more of what Uniswap in version 3 have done. Also, then you can also set up the price within that curve that you're willing to sell, and also you don't have to give 50 and 50. Another way is also to with the help of oracles is to come up with a price that is taken also, so you don't need to have put 50-50, but then the price is not given only by the algorithm that says that balances both, but also you take external data points from an oracle, for example. So if the coin and this wouldn't work immediately for small ones, because then there's not much more that the oracle can look at up there. But once your coin or your token grows and then it's in different exchanges as well, then we can look at with that oracle and what are the prices in other exchanges as well, and provide a similar price to this without you having to create do the 50-50.
50-50.
And yeah, that's it won't start from day one like that, but that's the aim of the EAMM protocol.
Working towards.
Yeah, exactly. One for 2 reasons actually. One is that it's complicated if it's yeah, we on the one hand we're just starting with the DEX, and then we taking the approach of like to start with the most simple one and build on top of that the most simple not only user experience but also from a development experience. And also then yeah, on the other hand, when a pool is very new, it's difficult also to create that with a pool that is just brand new, and it's not very, the token is not very, it's not listed on other exchanges, for example. But then as long as the community grows and then those projects grow in market cap as well, then they'll be listed on other exchanges, and then we have more data points where we can also look at a real price, market price.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So yeah, as a general idea, I like it when people, to a degree, kind of focus on the fundamentals of something first, get that rock solid, and then they can kind of build on top of that later. But I like that you're working on that particular thing about, like, if someone is wanting to provide liquidity to a pool, and you, at the moment, it's like you have to do it at a ratio of 1-to-1. That is a bit of friction there. Yeah. And there is also a problem of impermanent loss that I'd like you to have a go at defining a bit later on for those that aren't familiar with what that means. But if there is a solution where you can provide liquidity where it's not a 1-to-1 thing, does that mitigate at all impermanent loss in some way? Is that potentially some way of resolving or like lessening the negative impact of impermanent loss if you could provide liquidity at a not 1-to-1 type thing, if that makes sense?
It doesn't fully fix the problem, but it goes in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. And so if it can potentially mitigate impermanent loss, which is a good thing because that's currently a potential negative for liquidity providers at the moment. But for those that don't know what impermanent loss is, can you have a go at maybe defining as best as you can what impermanent loss is?
Yeah, sure. So with what we discussed, then when you're a liquidity provider, you need a ratio of 1:1. So in very simple terms, then the impermanent loss is when you create that pair, you have ADA and your own token, right? Then it could be that in that ADA, compare one of the two tokens loses and loses value compared to the other one or to the market in a while, and then you would be end up with a lower value of ADA in this case, for example, in the future. So that's something that you also don't want to avoid as a liquidity provider. That's in very simplistic terms.
Yeah. So when you add liquidity to a pool, you have to add it at a ratio of 1:1. So that could be 100 ADA and 100 of some other token. But if while that liquidity is in there, if any of those prices change, your liquidity tokens are always going to be at 50-50. So if you were to withdraw that and the price of ADA has maybe increased and the other token has decreased, when you withdraw it, it's still got to be at a ratio of 50-50.
Yeah,
at a ratio of 50-50. So that is something that, like, when I first learned about kind of DeFi and was researching about it, and when I was first looking at it, I was looking at Uniswap and I was also looking at Pancake Swap as well. And you see these high like APRs on these LP tokens. But then there isn't necessarily a lot of information around the risk associated with that as well. So something to be aware of for people that are entering this space. And if you're listening to this podcast, a lot of people may not be exposed to this risk yet because there aren't any products to use at the moment. So just keep that in mind. I'd love to talk about.
That's a good point.
Yeah, you go.
Yeah, it's a very good point because it's I've experienced that myself in Uniswap as well, but not creating my own pool, but adding to an existing pool. Yeah, and then exactly that's something that we want to avoid. The good thing is that because we're taking, in this case, the approach of not being only the platform, but also being an actively ourselves liquidity providers, that we have a financial incentive to fix that problem because it's also we have it's in our best financial interest as well to fix it, and then therefore it speaks for the
benefits everything else as well and everyone else.
Exactly.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to talk about is governance. So when we talk about DeFi, from my point of view, if you want to classify yourself as being like a DeFi protocol, there really needs to be some sort of governance aspect built into that. So do you have a plan for some sort of community governance within Cardax, and what does that look like, if so?
Yeah. Yes. What we so what happens usually in or what will happen when the platform goes live is that we talked before about the payments to the liquidity providers, right? And that's a 0.3%. Sorry, and in total, what's discounted on every transaction on the platform is a 0.35%, and from that, 0.3 goes to the liquidity providers, and 0.05 goes to the Cardax treasury. And what we're doing with that treasury is that will be becoming more and more a decentralized treasury. And so with the CDX token holders will be able to say what happens with the funds that will be in the treasury. Ideally, those funds will increase, so there's more money to create new pools, or to create or to back up other projects, or at the end of the day, that would depend on what the community of the CDX token holders would bring us to.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So there's a treasury, or there's a plan for there to be a treasury. And would that be like in a similar way to the treasury in Cardano? Like, is it a very kind of similar type thing?
Yeah, very similar. Actually, we're taking that approach from Cardano, from the white paper about from Ouroboros, actually. And then we're looking at also what they've done on Project Catalyst, also to fund projects that run on that. So it's we have to see something that makes sense also for us, because at the beginning, of course, Cardano is more the platform where you can build, and on Cardax at the moment is just is, at least the initial version, it would be only a DEX, so we wouldn't have something that you could build on the version 1 at least. So then we would have the nature of that community-driven treasury would be different, and then we would have to discuss also with the other token holders of what is the most, on the one hand, what would benefit the whole community the most. If we don't have the option to build on top of Cardax, or what are the other ways that we can also bring value to the whole Cardax ecosystem. Some other things is also creating other tools that will create value as well.
Yeah.
You mentioned also Pancake Swap. Yeah, they're very good in also in creating the yield farming, and they also create these weekly lotteries, or like they made they gamified the whole process. So then it's something else.
It's quite interesting what they've done. I think they've done a pretty good job, to be honest, in terms of how they're approaching it. So you noted the treasury is you kind of were what do you call it? You took how Cardano did it as inspiration from their white paper, but obviously the treasury is going to be slightly different in terms of how you use that treasury, because Cardano is different to Cardax. But ultimately, the community is going to vote and decide on how that money is used. But from you as a founder, have you thought about maybe possibilities around what that money could be used for? Like, have you had any ideas about, like for me, just like Project Catalyst in a way is kind of like a launch pad that you're funding projects in order to turn that idea into something real. Yeah, have you had any ideas about what this treasury could be used for? Like, could there be some sort of like Launchpad involved where people could use that money to invest into projects, and then the community, the token holders get it? Like, I don't know. Have you thought about that? Because that's quite a fun kind of idea. I love these treasury ideas. It's such a powerful thing, really.
Yeah, there's something also that we already started discussing with the community in our Discord, and a lot of the suggestions are also for creating something like what you mentioned, a Launchpad, for example, where you could create. And makes sense because it's also then in the same environment. There's also projects that want to launch token. They get also to the to potential investors that are already in the platform, and they can also sell their token once it's live in the same platform. And from a Cardax perspective, it's also interesting because then there's another use case for the CDX token. Then also the other things that we have also discussed in the community is more about marketing driven activities that could be from the treasury. We could, instead of doing all the marketing, also to do some part of more of giving it to influencers that could be also get paid part of that. of that treasury to do reviews or to discuss about the project or something that benefits the project itself as well. So that's also in the best interest of token holders. And so then we have different a big array of possibilities that we could be using those funds for, and not just only the most straightforward one, which is like just putting it back to the liquidity pools, which we will also do, but not all of that.
Yeah. You kind of touched on it there, but since we're talking about the token now, can we go a bit more into detail around the token? Maybe we can start with the utility of the token. So you mentioned there's like a governance aspect. If someone wants to buy this token, why would they, I guess, and what value do they get from owning that token?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sure. So then the token is called the CDX token. It's as you mentioned, the utility token of the Cardax platform. That on the one hand, you get paid you can earn tokens as when you become a liquidity provider. You get paid in the CDX token. That's one of the utilities. The other one is what we were just talking about. You also get to participate in the governance of the protocol, and what we have as also an idea is to increase the options, the utilities of the token. So what we were just discussing is a potential launchpad that goes into that direction as well, and yeah, some other potentially also looking at ways of staking as well. So then you can have more, you can get something out of the tokens without having to sell it. That's something also that we're looking at. On how to get the token at the moment. We did a pre-sale in a few months ago. And then now in August, we'll be doing a public sale. So we will be posting all the details for anybody that wants to participate in the public sale. You can just go to cardax.io and then or just follow us on Twitter at CardaxDEX. And then we'll be posting everything related to the specifics of the token sale.
Okay.
In the coming days.
Yeah. Okay. So you haven't shared details of what that public sale process looks like yet, but you will be sharing that in the next few days. So people just kind of follow you guys on social media, keep an eye out on your website, and all the information will be shared there.
Yeah, we're now in the moment of part of the process where we're already creating the specific landing page with all the questions and all the terms on how much would be that the token would cost, all the tokenomics, and so then when you go there, you'll see everything in one page, all the information that you need, and also from there you can ask us directly on our Discord.
Yeah. So you did the private sale earlier in May, and then so you're doing another public sale in August. Can we talk about the tokenomics of Cardax? So how many tokens of the CDX token are there, and how is that divvied up in terms of distributing it out there into the universe? Like how many tokens are going to the private sale, the public sale, to liquidity, to the team? Can you just briefly talk about the tokenomics of Cardax, of the CDX token?
Sure. So we have now the total supply. It's 1 billion CDX tokens that has been already minted, and then we won't mint more in the future. So what we have is this is it. We won't be minting more in the future. A lot of questions that we have got is also if we will be burning the tokens, and then the short answer is at least now, no, there's no plan to burn tokens. And in terms of how's the division, it's for the team and advisors. There's 25% of the tokens, and there's a 2 years vesting period. And also for the specifics will change also now on the public sale. So what if I give you one number, it's likely to change. That will remain the 25% of the team, and but as we go on to the public sale, the specifics on the tokenomics might slightly change. So what I suggest to all the viewers and listeners is just to go to our website, and then you'll be able to see exactly the distribution once we publish it in the next days.
Yeah. So if they want to learn more about that, they can go to your website. And also, people want to get their hands on some CDX token, keep an eye out for the public sale, which will be happening. We're still in July, aren't we? So next month, so yeah. In August, towards the end of August, like don't know.
Yeah, probably will be like we don't know specifically the date, but probably the second half of August.
Second half, okay. So not August 1. So towards the end of August. So we've got a bit of time to prepare for that.
Yeah, and we will be communicating that on the days. So then it's not a surprise to people that they couldn't participate because it was too short. So then we'll be also saying that on our social media beforehand, so they have time to prepare and all that. So. And maybe we can also leave it, if you allow us, maybe we can deliver a link to our website also in the description.
Yes, definitely. All the links, whatever links you want, we'll check it in the description down here somewhere. People don't get that if they're listening, but I'm pointing down to the bio. Okay, cool. I love it. Okay, and I'll personally be keeping an eye on that public sale as well. For the so you've shared some good ideas, and I like the problems that you're trying to solve, and I like your unique solutions to the problems. But who is the team behind this? So who's the team behind that is responsible for turning these ideas into something that has real world value?
Yeah, it's a good point. So in the team we have, what we did is a kind of a hybrid strategy. So then we have our internal team composed with, we started first with the UI and UX of the platform. So we have a graphic designer that has experience on years of experience on that, and an infrastructure engineer as well in the team, and blockchain developers that has finished the Plutus Pioneers program. And on top of that, also we're working with our technical partners, which is a company based out of the Ukraine that has years of experience in Haskell. So we're working together with them on the whole part of the process, not only the blockchain side of things, but also working together with them, going back and forth on the designs with them, and to the creation of the smart contracts and testing and all that. So it's a bit of both. And at the moment, when people go to our website, it looks like a very small team because it doesn't show the real team, the extended team as well. So then what we're going to do is probably, if you go there by the time that the public sale is already available, you should be able to see the complete team.
Okay.
What we did also, then maybe something also interesting to for people to know, is that we thought we're learning a lot with from Plutus perspective. We're learning a lot also from a community management perspective as well, marketing. So then we thought it makes sense, and it's so much so interesting the building on Cardano because there's so many things that could be decentralized. That then what we did is we created a company called Quant Labs. and then the company is the one that is developing the so kind of like what think of IOHK is for Cardano. In this case, we have created a research and development company to first use Cardax as our first and flagship product to really learn from it, and then see what other things can we also build on top of Cardano.
Okay, interesting. One cool thing, so on your website, if people go and check that out, you'll see at the very top that Cardax was the first DEX to win funding on Project Catalyst. So firstly, kudos for that. I voted for that as well, by the way. But for those that are, because Project Catalyst is such a like an amazing tool. It's as we mentioned earlier, we have this Cardano treasury, and then we have this beautiful system where people can submit ideas, and then the community can vote on the ideas that I like, and then that idea can actually receive funding to turn that into something real, which is huge. Like it doesn't get the credit that it deserves, I think personally. But for people out there that are looking to submit ideas, and as someone that has gone through that process and was successful, do you have any tips and tricks or advice for people that are looking to submit an idea on Project Catalyst, like as a general idea?
I think that the main tip is be really specific on what your proposal is. So sometimes and in what I see in many projects in Catalyst is that you see like this huge brick of just words, and then so it's also important that people understand what you have in your proposal if you want people to vote for you. So if you're planning to put a proposal in Fund 5 or 6 or the coming ones, what I would focus is look for first that the idea is interesting enough for people to vote, but also that you explain it well, and so explain it also with bullet points. Try to find a balance between being simple in explaining, but also not that simple that people think that this is very basic. So just if you have a really interesting idea, you could create a very long proposal, but it has to be very well structured and easy to read, because otherwise people won't read it, and then you won't get the votes, and then if you don't get the votes, you don't get the funds. So you have to also take that into consideration.
Mm-hmm. So it needs to be digestible and needs to be easily understood. So if people submit an idea, the problem that you're solving needs to be clear, the solution needs to be clear, because everything needs to be clear and digestible, which makes sense. I mean, if you submitted an idea, like you could be so inspired about this, how you're going to change the world, but that really needs to be packaged in a way that people can understand that dream and make sense of that dream. So
yeah, exactly. And also be responsive on the comments. Whenever you see a comment on idea scale, you get an email and notification. So whenever you get the email, just go right away and then write an answer to that comment, because people see that, future voters see that, or users in general see that. So then if you see a proposal that has a lot of comments that haven't been answered from the person that put the proposal, then you might think, well, then it's not that important for them. They just want the money, and probably they won't build it afterwards. And then it builds trust when you answer every single of the comments of the users.
Yeah, good tip. It shows that you're very like invested in that idea, and that the idea is active. Like I know this is not necessarily Project Catalyst, but like crypto in general, you could have a project, and then on their Telegram or their Twitter, they could go days and days and days without any updates. And obviously, if you're invested in that product, you're like, is this still alive? Like, what happened? And just to show some respect to you, I reached out to you on Project Catalyst on the message function, and you're so quick to reply. And you're in a position now where you're building something out, and you must be extremely busy, but you still took the time to reply really quickly. So you're definitely leading by example on that particular tip. So yeah, definitely a big respect for that. And also for people out there that are looking to connect with people in the space, obviously you can connect on social media, and you can message, you can email, but you can also reach out to people on Project Catalyst that may not have a social media profile yet, and there is an option to connect with people there. So just a little tip there as well.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, we're going to be closing up the podcast shortly, but is there anything that we haven't touched on that you'd like to talk about?
No, I think we covered like almost everything, if not everything that we wanted to, and probably more questions will come also. So then for your viewers, then they can just ask them directly on our Discord or on Twitter, and then we're always very responsive there as well.
Yeah,
we understand also that it's something really new, so then there's a lot of questions on how does it work and about that. So then yeah, we always welcome any questions on our social media channels.
Yeah. So on the social media side, for those that want to connect with your project and learn more about it and get involved in some way, how can they do that? How can they connect with Cardax?
Yeah, and probably the best way is Discord, because then on Twitter sometimes you tweet something and you get the official answer. We will respond. The great thing of Discord is that you get also then the answers of the other guys that are in the community.
Yeah. So Discord, and then you're also on Twitter as well. Any other social media platforms?
No, we're starting now also YouTube channel, but maybe just to inform our community on what are the advances
and whatnot.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Discord is the main one, and yeah, Discord is really good because, like you mentioned, you're not getting this official response on Twitter. You're really you're getting responses and feedback from the community, because everyone is just yeah, everyone's commenting and giving their input, which is good for everyone. Okay, final question. It's a general question, just a general Cardano question. What inspires you, or what excites you the most? Sorry, what excites you the most about the future of Cardano?
I think the most exciting thing is that you can do things in a much different way without having to trust a central entity. And we could talk about specifically about disrupting the financial sector, but I think it's much bigger than that. It's also it's about being able to do things on a peer-to-peer basis, and it's on now it starts with more payments side of things, but it grows into something much bigger that who knows where it's bringing us. And I think that's the most interesting thing that me and many others also got interested at the beginning, mainly like what I said at the beginning of the podcast about the ADA, only about like what is the other project, what is the coin, and then you get the whole Cardano story, and you think it's so interesting the what could happen in the future, more from that perspective than then the price of the ADA token becomes not irrelevant, but like much less important than all these projects that are running out there, and also all the opportunities.
Yeah, beautiful answer. So at the moment, a big focus is DeFi, but in terms of how crypto can disrupt all the industries of the world, the financial system, which is obviously a very important system, and it has a lot of flaws currently. Crypto can disrupt that, but it can disrupt so many different things, and we don't necessarily know what those things are, but we know that it's going to disrupt a lot, and even that kind of mystery around the benefits is kind of exciting for me as well. Like, we know it's going to change the world. We don't exactly know what that's going to look like, but even that in itself is kind of quite interesting and quite exciting.
Yeah, and I think also the combination between the new technology that is out there that we can just use, that also enables the social part, like what you just see now in Project Catalyst, for example. You don't know where it's going to go. You know that you're funding these projects, but you don't know where these other projects will go on. So it goes like this, and many of them will do something really different, and it's not disrupting the financial sector, but something completely different. Maybe somebody, and even in the financial sector now, we're talking about like DEXs and also liquidity providers and yield farming. But also it's a huge within that also the financial sector. It would be a huge advance if a company built on Cardano could do something like Western Union does. That they charge 11% to people that want to send money to their families in their countries. With this technology, you can just completely skip that, and then just with a simple platform combined with the social part that could also make it grow. So you do everything on a community-driven style as well. That is very, very interesting to see that. That's what excites me the most.